Good afternoon. So it's Sunday afternoon up here at TL Store, and we are moving our poo pile. So that's what's over here behind me. So what we're doing is we're taking the donkey and the goat poo, and we're gonna let it compost, and it'll take it a couple of months, and then we'll end up putting it out in our fields, and that's gonna help our fields grow. Um, and it's a way to reuse what we've got, and it's a way to improve the soil that's out there. Now, there actually is a process to composting your manure. It's not just throw it in a pile and let it go. So it has to be turned. It's going to take it 4 to 6 months to go. What goes into our poo pile? Well, obviously the poo. We're going to put in there the pine shavings that we use in the stalls. Now, those are used to soak up the urine of the animals. There's hay, so might be leftover hay that the donkeys or goats didn't like. We may have in there some of the hay, they throw it on and they use it as bedding. So it all ends up here. Now we're also moving it because when we set it up here, we really didn't think it through. So we've got an area where the water's gonna run down and always be in that pile. And then it's really gonna mess with our moisture content. So we picked another spot that we're gonna move it up to. And in that spot, it's gonna be drier, doesn't really have the runoff. We're gonna cover it. It actually sits on a hard surface. So we're not gonna face the issues with the runoff. And we're really gonna be able to compost that. And what does that really mean? Well, I got a little bit right here in the bucket as we move it. And so as it starts to compost, it really starts to turn this darker color is what it's doing. It's actually nice and warm right now. If you don't trust me on this, feel free to come on up, and you can also put your hands in our poo pile. Now the center of that poo pile is going to get to about 160 degrees, and that's an important part of the composting process as it turns from what it was and all those different materials that are in there into this nice compostable and spreadable soil. And that temperature, what it does is it keeps the flies from growing in there. It actually doesn't smell. It deals with that as well as you don't want a really ammonia smell in there. And then where we're going to have it, again, with that, keeping the water off of it, get a good, nice moisture content in it. And what goes into your pile is going to impact what your final product is. So if you have a lot of, there's nitrogen in some materials, some are going to turn more into a carbon as far as what they are. But into our pile, we'll see things like wood chips that we use out in the yard. So we'll have some wood chips that'll end up composting in there. Obviously, we'll have the donkey and the goat manure. We'll have the bedding. We'll see some hay that'll go in there as well. We're really not at the point where we're going to put any sort of food products in there just because we haven't figured out how to do that yet. We don't want to mess it up, but certainly something that we're working towards being able to do that as well, that we can use food waste in there as well and really turning it into that and being able to do it. We do have a lot of field that we're going to need some manure on and compost, and I don't know that our donkey is going to be able to generate quite enough. The pile that we've got, it's been about 6 months, and in the center of it, it's already turning that nice and dark black color that we want. That really good, almost going to look like potting soil that you get from the store when you see that if you buy potting soil. And the outer side doesn't get it, and that's why you have to turn it, and it allows that to happen. So if you want to come up here and play in our poo pile, feel free. Come on up. If you actually want to come up, we're always looking for help up here. If you want to earn the TL Store Conservation Award, come on up, help us. We got rocks to pick out of the fields. We've got weeds to pull. We're really seeing some nice grass. We got some fescues in there that are growing up. We got the oats and barley. We're seeing some of that coming up. Shiloh's been out spreading lime into the fields as we're trying to balance the pH of our soil. Because that field had so much pine in it, it's really an acidic soil, and it's not really, doesn't really like to let other things grow in it, or other things don't like to grow in it. You could figure out which way that wants to go either way. So we're doing that, but if you want to come up, you can take the goats for a walk. You can help us pull some weeds, pick up some rocks and that sort of stuff. But right now, I'm going to go back to loading up poo and shoveling it all over the place. I just happen to be shoveling it with the tractor, makes it a lot easier. All right.